Welcome to episode 62. This week we were talking about FTX, Schwab's purchase of TD Ameritrade, and we have more lightning round questions at the end. Last Friday, FTX, one of the largest cryptocurrency exchanges and trading platforms in the world, filed for bankruptcy. This happened after the crypto news company called CoinDesk reported that a sister company of FTX called Alameda Research, owned by FTX's CEO Sam Bankman-Fried, held billions of dollars worth of the cryptocurrencies that FTX created called FTT. This report led Changpeng Zhao, the CEO of Binance and competitor to FTX, who held a large portion of the FTT currency, to dump his position over concerns of fraud and misappropriation of customer assets, sparking a run on the currency. What are your thoughts on the current state of the crypto industry after this event?
Well, obviously, it's taking a big blow from a public relations standpoint. Unfortunately, I think it's showing what a lot of crypto actually is. I think the important thing to do is separate the theory from the implementation when it comes to cryptocurrencies. The theory is, to me, pretty interesting. An anonymous digital currency that's not controlled by any one central institution. Ideally, it's got a fixed or a maximum possible supply, the value of which can't be manipulated by central banks or other big players. The reality of it, though, is that almost none of that is actually the case. It's not anonymous and probably never has been. Any intelligence service or central banking institution or whatever can read the blockchains if they put a little effort into it. Most cryptos are little more than fiats themselves, just created or printed out of thin air. And a lot of them ended up being controlled by whales. So big financial firms that do pump and dumps with them effectively, or big individual investors. And unfortunately, they've by and large still remained useless in the real world in any meaningful way. I'm not particularly surprised what happened with FTX. It's another unfortunate thing with crypto that, the industry is loaded with these like 20-something, 30-something tech bros who, shout a handful of buzzwords and talking points, somehow raise billions of dollars and set up a nice facade in front of a money pit. I don't really get it to a certain extent, but I like the idea. The implementation thus far has left a lot to be desired. You end up seeing a lot of things happen like this, currencies just implode overnight for no apparent reason because one person sold them off. The biggest lesson I would take is if you want to invest in cryptocurrencies, just understand it's an extremely high risk investment. And unless it's a really, really big cryptocurrency, like maybe a Bitcoin, which can still sell off 60-70% in a matter of days or a few weeks, just be aware that the possibility of losing everything is very, very real.
FTX I guess rather Sam Bankman-Fried, it's like they're like Lance Armstrong getting caught blood doping in the Tour de France. You guys remember when that happened? It was a big deal. It changed the whole operation of the world cycling community. When he got caught, people asked, well, who else is doing it? If he was doing it, there must be other people doing it, and it needs to stop if we want to save the integrity of the competitive cycling world. And in order to do that, you need to make some rules, and that's what happened with the cycling community, and that's probably what needs to happen with crypto as well. I think this is either going to change the operations of the crypto industry drastically by adding some regulation, or the crypto industry is dead, in my opinion. Remember, the crypto world is largely unregulated, and that's been its main allure. That's what got it off the ground, and unfortunately, and ironically, it's probably what's going to drive it into the ground as well, unless things change. When you operate in gray territory, like crypto, shady stuff can and will happen. And that's what happened with FTX. They were doing stuff they wouldn't be allowed to do. and they were saying things that they wouldn't be allowed to say if they had some regulation. And we've talked about regulation in our industry on this podcast before. And I think we pretty much all agree that regulation, as irritating as it may be, is necessary to keep people honest. And I think that's what's going to happen if the crypto industry wants to keep its integrity.
I think that the biggest problem with cryptocurrency is that it's been around long enough that if it was going to improve our lives, we would start to see some evidence of it. When I first broke into the industry 30 years ago, there was lots of discussion about the S curve for technology. That when you take an S and you curve it, that takes 7 years for a new technology to go from 0% implementation to 10%, and then another 7 years to go from 10% implementation to 90%, and then another 7 years to go from 90 to 99. So if you think of it in terms of digital watches, only geeks had it for the first 7 years, and then for the next 7 years, it's like there was this huge proliferation with everybody making digital watches, and then right now, almost everybody has at least one digital watch in their bed nightstand at home, except for that one percenter who always will have a holdout and will never buy one. Well, crypto has never done what it was supposed to do, which was to come in as an alternative foreign currency that you could walk into Nelson's Hardware and buy a hammer with crypto as opposed to buying it with cash. It's never happened. Instead, it's just being a trading vehicle among a particular niche group, and that niche group tends to be young men. And what happened is that even baby bunny, beanie babies can make people wealthy when children want them. And then rich people who have way more money than sense will jump in and want to make money off beanie babies as well. I kind of think that's what's happened with crypto, is that young men were buying and selling crypto from each other, giving the illusion that they were all getting rich. And then a bunch of folks on the sidelines with lots of money decided to get in on it. And if you want to see nefarious behavior, just follow the money, because wherever the money is, that's where the nefarious activity is going to take place. Our firm has never really seen value in cryptocurrency. We've generally told our clients to avoid it. And at least so far, this far in the game, it seemed like that was pretty good advice.
I agree with what Drew said wholeheartedly, is that when you do stuff like this, now there's going to be a big outcry for regulation. And everybody bought into cryptocurrency in the first place because it wasn't regulated. And now it's probably going to be regulated by the people that you didn't want interfering with your currency in the first place. So to me, like, I don't get the investment thesis anymore. Is it used to be, it was an alternative currency that wasn't controlled by any one government, and basically it was like self-policed, and it was like open, and you could do all that stuff. And this proves that is not the case. Is that you had CoinDesk did a good job of discovering that the cryptocurrency that FTX created, so they had their own cryptocurrency amongst the thousands of other currencies that were out there. A lot of that was held in the Alameda Research, which is owned by Sam Bankman-Fried, and that set off a lot of alarm bells especially for one of their competitors over at Binance. And the whole thing, you don't want to see this, because now, like I said, now people are going to want this regulated, and that to me defeats the whole premise of cryptocurrency. So I honestly, I don't know where it goes from here, and I don't know why you'd want to own it at this point. So
CBDCs, if you haven't heard the term, central bank digital currencies are coming.
Right.
So crypto is not dead. They will just be little more than a government controlled version of Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever, FTT. I did think it was interesting that it turned out that most of the companies, FTX's and Alameda's cash holdings, were just FTT valued at market price. But since they owned the majority of the shares, nobody believed they could actually sell them for that current price. Right. And the company was actually worthless. So yeah, that was the really amazing thing that I saw. Is like, I'm very curious how many other big crypto exchanges are doing exactly the same thing.
Yeah, and ironically, it opens the door to do the exact thing that everybody who bought into cryptocurrency in the first place didn't want. is that the technology beyond it. If the U.S. comes up with like the Fed coin, now they have basically total control over the currency. They can see who owns it. They can do everything that they pretty much want to do with it, like the digital yuan is right now. And now you have the extreme opposite of what you were trying to avoid in the first place.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly. It's the antithesis of what was promised 10 years ago.
yeah, blew up in their face is what I think. So,
and I think I like the idea of blockchain technology. I think that's actually going to be a disruptor. And to talk speculatively for a minute, I think that's what's going to be the main application going forward in the crypto world. If I was an owner of any crypto coins, I'd probably be heading for the hills right now. But I don't think it's completely dead. I think that the blockchain technology, whether it's going to be Fed coin or Bitcoin or Dogecoin or wherever it is, that'll probably carry forward some kind of new technology.
You think the value lies in the coin or the currency, or the blockchain technology being used for more corporate institutional needs?
I think the future is going to be the blockchain technology. But right now, like you said, it's a bunch of young men trading amongst each other, jacking up the price. So I think on paper, the price was on the coin. But going forward, I think the value is going to be in the blockchain.
Yeah, my guess is the government's going to be like, hey, you know what? We'll solve your problem. We'll just use Fed coin, and that way we'll watch over it for you. We'll use the blockchain technology, and then we'll just problem solve. But that's exactly the opposite of what everybody in crypto wants.
I don't really care about trading Dogecoin, to buy a Subway sandwich, but I do like the idea of being able to trade money or send money maybe internationally in the blink of a second, or being able to ACH money in the blink of a second instead of it taking multiple days.
Right.
Maybe we'll have to have a follow-up on discussion of whether digital currency is a good thing or not. But for now, let's move on to the second question, which is, what's it a question? I don't know. In 2019, and a lot of people may know this, but in 2019, Charles Schwab announced that it was going to purchase TD Ameritrade, and what was kind of a 4D chess move for the industry. It was somewhat shocking, but as many of our clients know, is that we use TD Ameritrade as our custodian to hold assets and to help us facilitate trading. So the two companies are officially combined under the Charles Schwab name on Labor Day on 2023, so Labor Day of next year, so around next September. What do you think what kind of clients expect from this?
Well, from my standpoint, there will be very little change. I do a lot of the background stuff, and most of it is not even through TD Ameritrade. I'll, grab transactional data to import it into other software to make sure that we are reconciling everyone's accounts correctly. Download a few other bits and pieces of information here and there from TD Ameritrade, but for the most part, that's again all in the background. So as long as you're continuing to get your quarterly calls from us, that I'm not having a problem. So hopefully that's the only thing that will be noticed on my part.
I think the biggest impact, I guess I'll start with the negative ones, is that going forward with Charles Schwab, you cannot have a Roth solo 401k. Doesn't exist. It might in the future, but it just doesn't now. So for the very few, I think we may have one, maybe two clients that do that right now, and it's not even very active. That's going to be a change. So if you want to have a Roth solo 401k, you can't do it at Schwab. If you're a retail client, it's just going to be a different interface. The trading platforms are all going to be the same. They're keeping Thinkorswim. They're keeping I can't remember what their other one was. If you're one of our clients on the institutional side and you use advisorclient.com, the interface is going to change there. Just like getting a new phone, you're going to have to learn, a few new things, but virtually it's going to be the same. But if you're a client that doesn't have a Roth solo 401k, you're not a retail client, and you don't check your advisorclient.com, nothing's pretty much going to change for you, period. Like Alex said, you're still going to get your calls. Your investments are going to still be managed the same. Instead of it being under TD Ameritrade, it's going to be under Charles Schwab. So I guess if you have a TD Ameritrade tattoo, you might be regretting it about now, but otherwise, not much is going to change.
I think I could be wrong, but I expect that the client experience for us with custodians is kind of like they're a wealthy person who has a chauffeur, and the garage attendant where they used to park their limousines is now bought out by another company. The chauffeur has way more interface with the garage attendant than the wealthy person does. And I think that really, if there's going to be an impact, it's not going to be so much on our clients. It's actually going to be on us, because we're going to have to learn how to use the Schwab systems. I'll be honest, is that the relationship that I've had with TD Ameritrade since the beginning has been nothing short of amazing. It has been a wonderful relationship. And I'm really quite trepidatious about going forward, not because there's anything wrong with Schwab, it's just that TD Ameritrade has been so good. And in my head, these could be imaginary horribles, but it's just hard for me to imagine that Schwab could be better than what we've experienced over the last 10 years. So I'm hoping that by buying TD Ameritrade, that TD Ameritrade will influence Schwab in a positive way, so that our experience isn't any worse than it has been, because it's been so good.
I think a lot of TD Ameritrade is going to revolve around Schwab, because before this, like years before this actually happened, a lot of the executives that made TD Ameritrade what it is today resigned from TD Ameritrade, and then months later showed up over at Charles Schwab. Shockingly, years later, Charles Schwab acquired this like they maybe planned on it. So I'm thinking is that a lot of that, a lot of the things that made TD Ameritrade what it is are going to rub over on Schwab. And frankly, I don't know. Maybe I think the term is Pollyanna. Where you're like the eternal optimist. I don't think that's what I am, but I'm kind of excited for it, because now they're one of the biggest RIA custodians in the country. And I think they have some pretty exciting things for RAs, which is what our firm is, come down the pike in terms of technology and things that we can now do that we couldn't do before. And I'm kind of interested to see how we can apply some of that to our company. So I'm kind of excited about it. And so far, the customer service that I've experienced has not, for the most part, has not been a decline in what I experienced before. So
I'd probably say TD Ameritrade, dozens of times a day. And that's what, like 6 syllables? Schwab, it's going to be, think of all the time we're going to save.
Yeah, there you go.
It's gonna be great.
I don't know about you guys, but when I say Schwab, like sometimes it doesn't, there's something about that SHA kind of thing going on where I have to like repeat myself. So, I have to like, start over or something like that. Schwab, I don't know if I'm saying it right. So that's, maybe for you, it'll save time. For me, is that it might add some time, at least initially. Anyways, the underlying bullet point here is that for 99% of our clients, you're not going to notice anything. And for the 1% that we have to like repaper like a Roth 401k or something like that, it's not going to be a big inconvenience. So,
I am shocked by your position, Tom, because I would never think of you as a Pollyanna.
Really, I get called a Pollyanna all the time when I'm on the. They're like, oh, you're they don't come right out and say it, but they're like, oh, you're very optimistic. I'm not. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, like, I think of myself as somewhat cynical, but I don't know. Anyways. All right, let's move on to the lightning round. All right, last week we discussed how dad sneakers are in vogue, but this week, as I was perusing the Wall Street Journal, I saw that they ran an article titled "Tired of Sneakers? Fancy Shoes Are Back In for Men." And, I know I said that fashion changes quickly. This seems absurd to me. Like, is the Wall Street Journal fashion article, is this just a bunch of bull? I mean, are they just churning out articles so, like, maybe somebody will click on this one as opposed to the other one? Or does fashion actually change this quickly? Like, Alex, what's going on? Which shoe should I wear?
Well, I have never heard anything about this recently. Not that I follow fashion trends that closely. When I did a quick Google search, I could only find 2 references to formal shoes being back in style. One of them was the article you had us read, and the other was the Wall Street Journal's Twitter account where they shared the article. So I'm pretty sure they're either somebody didn't have something to write about, or they're trying to set the trend themselves. I have not seen very many people walking around in more formal shoes. Some of them can be fairly comfortable, I guess, but for the most part, everyone I've ever known thinks that their formal shoes are the least comfortable pairs of shoes they own. So I don't know how many people are going to be walking around in them on a regular basis. Personally, I would rather go with like a boat shoe or something.
I have no idea what's going on. We must live in some microcosm, because I have not heard about the dad shoes. I've not heard about the dress shoes, nor have I seen it. So I don't know if there's like some, like Miranda Priestley in The Devil Wears Prada, where she's basically like telling the industry what's fashionable or not. Maybe the men's shoes companies are really great friends with the Wall Street Journal, and they got their stuff published. But that article that you sent Tom about it, I thought it was kind of ironic, because they said men's shoes are now in vogue, and here's some great sock pairing and slacks to help dress them down. It's like, well, why are you trying to get dress shoes just to dress them down again? Reminds me of that episode in The Office where Dwight says he can raise and lower his own cholesterol with his mind, and they ask him, well, why do you want to raise your own cholesterol? He's like, well, just so I can lower it. It's kind of like that with this fashion shoe industry. It's like, hey, we're going to get these fancy shoes, make them in vogue, just so we can dress them down. To me, it's all ridiculous.
I'm rethinking my hiring decision when I got fashion played Tom Shook on the payroll. I mean, the only time I hear about these fashion things is like on farm to markets, where I'm required to talk about fashion because these are the topics that Tom picked out of the Wall Street Journal.
I think Tom's a ghostwriter for Vogue.
I think so too.
Can't you tell?
Gentlemen's Quarterly.
I mean, so here's
How
how
much
it
is he
happens.
getting paid to bring these questions?
That's a nice truck you drive.
Yeah. I just follow the header of the Wall Street Journal website. Topics. I go to the homepage. I go to the investment page. I'm like, all right, I need some not serious topics. Let's go to style and lifestyle. And like most of the articles are this. And the only reason I brought this up is because last week it was like dad shoes are the thing. This week it's like, oh no, it's actually dress shoes. And after this, like honestly, I think what I'm gonna do is just buy 5 pairs of blue pants, 5 pairs of white shirts. I'm just gonna pull a Mark Zuckerberg and wear the same outfit every day. And that way I don't have to think about it anymore.
Jeans and plaid will never go out of style.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hey, Tom, can you post some of the photos of what these shoes and socks and trousers look like? I mean, none of them look like men's shoes. They look like little boy shoes. And the way they dress, they look like little boy clown shoes. So I can't imagine anybody with any self-respect actually wearing them outside of Madison Avenue.
Well, didn't they interview somebody from England, which would explain why they're so weird looking?
Yeah, I think it is. I just
Like an English shoe person from the London Financial District.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, they do dress really weird over there. So
I can probably think about 3 million people in Paris and Italy that disagree with you, but
Yeah. And yeah, on the East Coast, it's probably different. I think there is a lot of this on the, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I guess I don't know. But I think there's more of this on the East Coast. Also, you probably just offended a bunch of people. Now we're because, like, honestly, the one of the biggest topics that we get emails about has been the fashion articles and people's opinions about them. So I don't know. I think we have a base that follows us pretty closely. But
let the man work.
yeah, exactly what I'm doing here. All right, so yeah, let's move on. So Thanksgiving is just a few weeks away, and it's tradition to have a turkey as the main course. Do you actually have a turkey for Thanksgiving, or do you prefer something else?
So I used to be spiral ham or nothing. Mostly because as a kid, nobody that I ever went to Thanksgiving with knew how to handle turkey, I guess. Because all the white meat was dry and bland, and the dark meat was okay, but I mean, when it was sitting next to a nice spiral baked ham, why would I ever have turkey? Then I started doing my own turkey in a smoker and making my own gravies out of the fat drippings and the gizzards and all that stuff with, picking my own woods to flavor the meat and everything. And it's like, forget about the ham. I gotta have turkey. So if you do it right, turkey, absolutely. So yeah, we definitely do turkey here now.
When I eat Thanksgiving dinner at someone else's house or someone who has prepared it, it's usually turkey. And in that case, I'm a Pollyanna. I'll never say no to a home cooked turkey. But when cooking in my own house, we typically do chicken. I just like the taste a little better, I guess.
I think I'm the only person in my family who actually enjoys the taste of turkey. But it would be a throwdown fight if I ever said we'd eat anything else on Thanksgiving, because it's from my wife Linda, it's a tradition, but she doesn't really care for it. And I always like to buy a ton of turkeys right after Thanksgiving so that we can cook 5 or 6 of them. I'm like Alex. I love a smoked turkey. I barbecue or any turkey cooked outside, I really enjoy. Mm-hmm. But the answer is, at my house, we will probably be eating turkey as long as Lynn and I are still together.
Yeah, I have no problem with turkey at all on Thanksgiving, but I also don't mind. I've seen other people do this where, some families I've met that they just have pizza. Some people have steak. Some people have ham, and I don't mind I don't mind the change at all. Some people are very dogmatic about tradition, which I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I just find it kind of funny, but I have no problem with when people try it up, and sometimes it's kind of fun. But the turkey I've had has been great, and I certainly don't mind it. But I also kind of think it's fun to see what other people have in place of turkey.
Spoken like a true Pollyanna.
Exactly. One thing I would like to say though is that when people ask us, they're like, "Why'd you hire Alex?" It's like, now we can now say it's like the man knows how to handle a turkey. Anyways, all right. Where are we at here? Okay, last topic. So I was perusing the commodity prices yesterday morning, as one does, and I noticed that the price of a dozen eggs is up 32% over the last month and over the last year. I don't know if that was right, but Trading Economics said it was up 232% year over year. What is going on?
So you've got a couple of things. I'll try and be quick since we're running out of time. 2 of the biggest inputs to making an egg are feed and fuel. If you look at what's in chicken feed, you're generally looking at either corn or rice-based with soy as the protein and canola as a binder. And all of those things, well, other than canola's down a little bit year over year, but the rest are up like 12 to 25% for those input prices. And then you look at refrigerated trucking costs. At their peak, they were up 89 to 90% year over year this year. They've pulled back a little bit from those highs a few months ago, but it's still expensive to move those eggs around. And then you have people trying to buy cheaper proteins to replace more expensive proteins, and eggs are a cheap protein. So more people buying eggs, fewer people buying steak. So seems like it's just a combination of input prices higher and demand higher.
Basically what Alex said, but I've only verified this with one source. I don't know if it's credible, but there's a strain of avian bird flu that I guess has taken out a ton of laying hens. You have layers and you have broilers, and broilers are meat chickens and layers are obviously hens. And I guess the influenza has impacted the egg layers more than the broilers, because we've actually seen a decline in the price of chicken meat, but a increase in the price of eggs. So that's, I think, a contributing factor as well.
Yeah, I agree with everything that Drew said, compiled with what Alex said. There is elasticity in protein, and people are buying more chicken, making a higher demand. But the avian flu has certainly reduced supply, and if demand remains constant, the price will go up.
Yeah, my chickens are on a labor strike right now, right as the prices peak. So that's probably all right, that's all the time we have. Thanks for joining us for episode 62. We'll see